Hey guys, Steve, KO4AFL, and I'm here with Richard from Signal Stuff and Exam Tools. As you know, I'm a big proponent of Exam Tools, but we're going to talk Signal Stuff first and see what Richard's got, and maybe he'll give us an insight on what he's got coming. Richard, thanks for taking time. How are we doing today?
Doing well, can't complain.
All right.
I mean, I complain anyway, but don't,
It's all good. So tell us about Signal Stuff.
So Signal Stuff, as probably most of your listeners know by this point, was created in order to support ham study and exam tools. Really what it is I sort of took over this manufacturing these antennas, just the black ones initially, from an old youth Explorer post, ham radio Explorer post that I was a member of when I was in my late teens. And we used to just make them out of piano wire. So I took over that. Then later on, when I was in the leadership of the post, and the post shut down, we didn't have enough people coming. But people still wanted these antennas in the area. So I started building them and selling them, just help pay for hosting costs for ham study. And then I just kept making little gradual improvements to them in my spare time while working on ham study and exam tools. And it sort of grew out of control. Or maybe it's just barely in control. So, I think it was 2015 or 2016, we first created signalstuff.com and put things online. And then, since then, I think we sold maybe 216 antennas that first year, if I remember right. Last year, we sold over 25,000.
Wow.
So, and these are all handmade antennas. So it's been interesting. It's been an interesting ride, but along the way, that's made it possible I now have hired somebody to help with shipping. I pay my brother-in-law to do most of the manufacturing. He's a ham. And I was able to hire my partner over there, Ben, to help me with development, which has helped to speed some things up with exam tools and ham study development. So it's really been a lot of fun. And so at this point, it kind of grows as I have some spare time to come up with new products and stuff. And other than that, we're just trying to keep the doors open, keep making antennas and stuff for people, and keep the important stuff moving.
Okay. And what makes Signal Stuff so unique?
Honestly, I think the thing that's most unique about it is that business relationship with ham study and exam tools. I don't know how well my shirt comes through. Anytime I make marketing materials, you can see with the sign up there, at this point, in order for it to really work in any kind of a show like this, I have to include all three logos, which is really an interesting challenge for somebody who has no artistic tendencies at all, attempting to make marketing materials and do graphics design. But it's just the fact that ham study and exam tools really go hand in hand, but they could not survive without Signal Stuff. At the same time, the super elastic signal stick, as cool as it is a really, really simple design. I mean, there's really nothing special about it all that much, except that, I made it out of a unique kind of wire and they're handmade, but mostly it's what they support, I think, is what drives a lot of what builds it. And so it's kind of that thing where my priorities are not determined by what is going to make the most money for antennas. I mean, obviously, money making is a consideration, but more in, does it help me to grow the systems and why we actually do this? Okay. So I think that's the most unique thing. But there's the other aspects, of course, the lifetime warranty. Somebody drops their antenna and it falls just, the radio falls just right, snaps off at the base. As long as they've got both parts, we'll replace that under a warranty. So there's some other interesting things like that too.
What if somebody were to drop it from, say, 14,000 feet?
I want that story if that happens.
I have that story for you, my friend.
I want to hear that story, but if they've still got the parts, if they can find it,
it still works. They found the radio.
That's hilarious.
So you probably caught wind of who I'm referencing in that already.
I don't think I've heard that one, honestly.
Those of you that have seen my channel have seen that our buddy Carlos, live at Terminal Velocity, threw me out of a perfectly good airplane and made contacts using his FT3, I believe, and a signal stick antenna. They work well when you have the tallest tower in the Midwest. And 10,000 feet is probably the tallest tower in the Midwest. So
that's funny.
It works well in the air. It does tend to bend a little in the cold,
Now, they're not quite as bad about that now.
Okay.
I've changed
You've updated?
I've updated the end of last year, or the beginning of last year, so the beginning of 2024, we switched to a slightly different alloy. It should be good down to about 14 degrees Fahrenheit and minus 10 Celsius.
Okay.
So it's a little better about that, but I mean, it's still nitinol.
Yep.
It's not magic, it's just neat.
Yeah, and you call it the super elastic, and you guys can see it's bouncing around here, and you can actually bend it over, tie it in a knot. Oh, wow, you bend it tighter than I will.
Some of them, it's a little more prone to that since we switched that alloy, but it still it comes out pretty straight.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I run the mag mount and a signal stick on my truck, beaconing APRS off my FT3. I've got the signal stock, the quarter wave, this one here, on an aluminum mount on the truck. I've got one of those on my Malibu, and then I've got the half wave on my Sorrento.
Nice.
And I've actually made an ISS repeater contact off the Sorrento.
That is another of those things that I keep thinking I should try out and just haven't had time to. My time for actually using amateur radio seems to decrease as I find more ways to try to contribute to amateur radio, which is one of those interesting ironies in life. But maybe another interesting thing, brand new at this show, in fact, these are not even on the website yet. So we introduced the Signal Strand system back during the Black Friday sale. Signal Strand is a lot like a counterpoise, except that it has an alliterative name, which makes it 23% cooler, according to my very scientific measurements. And what we did is since so many people are converting their radios to BNC already, is I've made these new adapters. You can see the gold marker. These are my, as to help people remember not to walk away with this one.
There you go.
So SMA female, SMA male to BNC female, and then it adds this tab there so you can attach a counterpoise wire. And then for those with a BNC, this in some ways feels like the world's silliest adapter because it's a BNC male to BNC female.
Okay.
It's just a pass through, but it lets you attach that. So if you're doing a man pack or if you're doing a mount on a backpack or something, this lets you mount the strand somewhere else. And then we have this super flexible wire. Right now we have black and red on the website, but soon we'll be adding these other four, and the BNC is not on the website yet either.
Okay.
We'll be adding these other four colors. And I took the super flexible wire I was able to find like on Amazon and stuff. And when I went to order it, I found that I could order it with double the strand count. So it's even more flexible. And so that's what we did. Okay. So it's a really high quality 18 gauge wire, but you can also just make your own. It's not really that unique or anything. It's just a blade connector with an 18.5 inch wire on it. So instructions and measurements and everything are on the website. But that's our new thing here, at least on the Signal Stuff side.
Well, and I noticed you've got a 220 monoband antenna.
Yep.
And a 440 monoband.
I've had those for a while.
Okay. It's been a minute since I've been on the website. I've been too busy giving exam tool tests, so.
No, we used to make more of those. They're one of those things that's super useful if you happen to need it.
Okay.
But if you don't happen to need it, then so they're overlooked a lot, I think. The little ones are probably mostly used on like monoband antennas or a hotspot or something.
Okay.
They do work on GMRS as well, but since it's only a quarter wavelength, it's not going to give you much benefit over any other well-made antenna of about the same length. Because antenna resonance is almost entirely length, and you add some other stuff to help it, but the big thing with the signal stick is we don't add any of that other stuff. So it can handle a literal order of magnitude more power than most other antennas, but it also does have some downsides because it doesn't have any loading in the base. So
yeah, it can be a benefit as well.
Yeah, it absolutely can. It's trade-offs.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for that. Let's talk exam tools.
All right, should we walk over here?
Yeah, we'll walk over here.
Can we talk ham study as well?
We can, absolutely.
All right.
Ham study.
So hey guys, you're on a recording now.
Hello, recording.
So this is Ray, this is Ben. We're the three that work on the Ham Study mobile app, which we've just finished in this last year, a complete rewrite of that. added mainly support over here for tying in with a book. Like, for example, if you're studying with the ARL license manual or the fast track books from the Burnett's, Gordon West, etc., now if you're using the app, you can set it to use that and study based on the chapter, the location in the book where everything is. And then as I was doing that, I got playing with some AI tools and realized that they can do a lot better job than I would have expected at some things. And so we created the Ham Study Technician Class License Ham Book, which is available for free on hambook.org. There are exactly 2 physical copies like this in existence, and no, you can't have them. They are mine.
Both here at the show.
Both here at the show. Eventually, we'll probably have those available more, for purchase or something. The goal is to have this something that can support itself, but still be available for free. Right now, we only have the technician class license. To be honest, without external help, I'm not sure that I'm qualified to write anything for general or extra. General, maybe. Extra, a lot more questionable. I'd have to do. I could probably do it, but I'm going to have to spend a lot more time verifying information. AI, as probably everyone knows, has an interesting tendency to make things up that sound incredibly plausible. I think my favorite from doing this is its claim, trying to be lighthearted and funny it's talking about tower safety, and it said something like, as we say in the amateur radio community, the most daring tower repair rings hollow from the emergency room, or something like that's trying to come up with a trendy saying. That's like, no, nobody says that.
Nobody says it, but it's a valid point.
Well, it is a valid point. I'm not saying it's wrong. Just that, and that's the worst part with AI, though, is that so often it comes up with something that seems very, very plausible and may or may not have any. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely an accurate statement, except that nobody says that. It's not something that we say. But one of the big things with that is ham study works great if you're studying just for a ham radio license and you already know a bit, or if you've already got another resource, if you've already got some background. But, because the explanations that so many of our users have contributed, you can learn a lot. However, if you don't know anything and you're just dropped into the question pool and it starts asking you these questions, and you're like, what the heck is this talking about? And I've talked to a lot of people who've had that problem. And so the handbook takes the approach of first talking about the science. And so if you already are familiar with the science behind it, you can probably just skim most of it. It's going to be review. And then talks about the person, which is going to be rules and regulations, how to operate everything, etc. The questions are not integrated with the text. They are referenced at the end of each chapter to be like, well, these are some of the things that you'll be asked, or you might be asked on the question on the exam that we just talked about. Tried to keep it as lightweight as I reasonably could without leaving major things out to kind of give a free option for people to learn without being so focused on the question pool that it's impassable for the less tech-savvy people. So I think that's done okay.
Good. And I know there's quite a few VECs that are using exam tools.
Yeah, so back onto the exam tools side, ARRL surprised us this year in January by telling everyone that they're not going to be doing test booklets anymore. They are now going to ask everyone to sign into exam tools and print things off there. Which, don't get me wrong, I think that's fantastic. I might have appreciated a heads up so that I could maybe try to help make that process more smooth. So if anyone that are ARRL VEs are struggling with that, feel free to reach out to us for a little bit of help. support@examtools.org is the support email. That is only for people who are VEs who need help with exam tools. That's not for people who want to take exams, by the way. But it's really been a lot of fun. I think this is the first... Really going into the show is the first time that most people that I'm talking to about exam tools are finally using it in person, which is what it was originally designed for. Not that I have anything against remote exams. They're great. They serve a valuable purpose. But there's still a lot of exams in the nation that the teams are doing way more work than they need to be doing because they just don't want to look at something new. And Exam Tools was designed to use with our test session that, my father-in-law ran the test sessions actually where I took all of my licenses long before I started dating his daughter. KC7KEI is my wife's name. Her call sign is sequentially before mine, in case anybody is not familiar with the difference between that and KD7BBC and what that means. But we would have 50 to 80 people at a lot of our exam sessions and 4 or 5 VEs. And when you got that kind of differential, you have to be very efficient in how everything works. And I'm a fundamentally very lazy person. So that was way more work than I wanted to deal with, so I wrote a system to help with that. And that's kind of how Exam Tools came into being. And we've just continued to improve and work on that over the years. And it's gotten to the point where I think it's safe to say that all of the major VECs are working with us, most of them fairly closely. And quite a few of the minor VECs are starting to kind of onboard as well. A lot of people don't realize that there are several VECs that literally are a single radio club. And they have one test session, and that is the entire VEC. But they are an entire VEC. So there's 14 total VECs, and I bet that very few people can name all of them. I'm not even totally certain that I can, to be honest. I probably can because it's in my code base, but I'm not certain.
You couldn't do it off memory.
What?
Yeah, I don't think you could do it off memory.
Maybe not. I'm not going to try. Not on something like this where I'm going to be held to it if I say something wrong. Anyway, so yeah, it's been a fun ride and fun to see that it's finally, I think, starting to hit more of a general acceptance. I know that they do use it for all of the testing here at Orlando Hamcation, and I was talking to the president of DARA earlier, and there's at least some he at least indicated that he was going to talk to the people who are running the sessions at Hamvention. I don't know if anything will come from that. I would love to see them using Exam Tools at Hamcation. One of the neat things about it when using Exam Tools with a larger session, and this is, again, something a lot of people don't realize, is that we have a little bit of a partnership with GradeCam where they can use these bubble answer sheets to answer questions. So you bubble in the test ID and the applicant ID that they're assigned when they register. Then you bubble technician, general, or extra, TG or E, right up here. And then you bubble in the answers to your questions, and you can grade that using a cell phone camera. And it will just immediately give you the results. So it's very fast. All you need are some smartphones. You don't actually need tablets or devices for everyone. I think most people at this point know that we can print out the exams, since that's what ARRL is telling everyone to use, and a lot of the other VECs are using us for printing the exams as well. So just on here, you can see the test ID there in the corner, and that's just what they bubble in so it knows. The other neat thing about doing that, not only does the Exam Tools system treat those exactly the same way that it would treat a computerized exam as far as like printing the result sheets and everything, it also includes a picture of that sheet. But also, every exam that's given through Exam Tools, we're able to collect the statistics on how that happened and how that worked. And what that means is that when the question pool committee goes, and earlier this year they contacted me and said, hey, we're starting to look at revising the technician class question pool. What can you give me? And so I ran a report that gave me the statistical analysis of this is how many times every question in the question pool has shown up. This is how many times it answered each question. And we have enough samples of people who have taken that exam that we have some statistically significant data that we can now actually use to improve, to identify where are the outliers, what are the questions that are really bad because they're always missed or they're always correct, or that they're, and they can start looking at finding the questions that are just, the data say that this is not the right question for this pool. And the last 2 question pools, some may have noticed if you were paying attention, there's been a little more changes than usual.
There has been.
I can't say for certain that that's related, but certainly those are the 2 question pool changes that they had that information from exam tools for.
Wow.
And so the more data that we have, the more of the actual, all of the exams that go through this system, the more of that can feed into that. So just another kind of cool benefit to the system that's maybe not as obvious.
Yeah. Okay. And guys, as somebody that uses exam tools very heavily, both in person and online, it is so easy. I was able to switch my club over from doing paper to we're using Fire tablets at our in-person sessions, and my VEs don't forget to sign, because that was a big thing. I used to always have to call a VE back or call an applicant back and get them to sign something. And if you've been watching the slideshow over Richard's shoulder here, you may notice there's a 605 that comes up, and
Might have to skip back to that one.
okay, you'll notice a particular call sign on there. KD9 who? Hey Caitlin, I gotta give you a shout out, girl. Love you. Guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And Richard, thank you for your time.
Thank you. It's been fun.
We'll see you on the next one. 73.